we're doing it today. Hi, hello everyone. My name is Rachel and welcome back to my channel. Guess what we're doing today? We're talking about Throne of Glass. I decided I wanted to read all of Miss Sarah J. Maas's books before Crescent City 3 comes out. House of Shadow and Flame. I have went ahead and I have made a schedule. If anybody wants to join, they can go and find me on Instagram. We are doing Throne of Glass. We are doing ACOTAR, and we are also doing Crescent City. If you are wanting to reread her entire backlog, or you want to reread just some of hers, or you want to read them for the first time, this could be a very easy way to do it. So if you would like to join, I'm calling it Reread With Me to CC3. It's fun, right? It rhymes. This is really going to be my plea that you read this series with me and we can talk about it together and just gush over it. Also, this is probably going to be just a video of me just gushing about Sarah J. Maas the whole time and her writing style. If you don't like Sarah, if you don't like these books, if you don't like anything to do with her, this video is not the video for you. I'm going to share all my thoughts and feelings of this book and my feelings towards her writing style. I'm not going to go into what I would change necessarily about this book, but I'm going to give a very honest review and why I enjoy her as an author. And then at the end, basically just making a case as to why I think you should read Throne of Glass. With that, let's go ahead and get into it. Let's go ahead and start with just my overall honest review of it. I only gave it 3.5 stars, and kind of harsh because it is her debut novel. It does a lot of things that I don't think other authors can do. Honestly, as a debut novel, it's probably a 4 or 4.5 because of the amount of intricacies that she puts in here and the way that she is able to balance things so well from the get-go. And balance things like characters, plot, and pacing. She does that so well for a debut author. That may not be obvious from the first book, but as you continue on with the series, you start to notice just how smart this first book truly is, because that's one of the big things. So my honest review of it, the nostalgia was there for me. I mean, again, it's a reread. I will say in this book, it's not a ton of world building. You are in one place for the majority of it. You are basically in the palace for the majority of it, and you are closely following Selena the whole time. Also, the plot device that is used, which are the trials, which is talked about on the back of the book, trials to become the king's champion, they're not that well thought out, which is something that I have noticed when it comes to this plot device. It just doesn't seem like people put enough thought into the trials themselves and what they could really represent. A lot of times they're pretty dumb. It's the same with this one. I was reading the trials and I was like, these aren't very interesting for one thing. It's not really showcasing a ton of things. I feel like it's very much just an easy plot device for people to use to where you don't necessarily have to put that much thought into it for it to do what you feel it needs to do, except for the last trial that happens. But all the other ones just seem to pass, and it's just like, okay, I don't know exactly what I was supposed to get out of that. That is something that I would say isn't done very well. And also the personalities of all of the characters in this one, you care about them, but it's not as intense as I think the fandom makes it seem. What I will say, when I read it, something that Sarah does really, really well is she knows how to put a big finale on something. And that's what she does in this book. And that's really what caught my attention. I just did my thrillers video, and something that I just notice from that to this is she almost puts like a plot twist. Like that feeling that you get when you're reading the end of a thriller and there's like this big plot twist and it like just blows your mind. Sarah does that. She just leaves it in such a way that you are just drawn in and you want to read the next book. So going into now what I think she does well as a writer is, for one thing, her plot. Her plots are just so interesting and they're so purposeful. Everything in Sarah's books are going to mean something. Look at how much I annotated. And that's because so much of this comes into play. It comes into play during this book and it comes into play in later books. That's how intelligent I think she is when it comes to this book. She leaves open so many different threads that she later pulls on. It all ties in and it all ties back. It's not like this thing where sometimes authors, you can kind of tell that they've run out of different plots. And so they just plop in this whole new plot that we've never heard of, that's never happened, that, you know, there hasn't even been an inkling of it. And it's just plopped in. And then it's like, oh, okay, so now this is like the big thing we need to figure out. Sarah starts from this book. There are layers upon layers upon layers within this book. And I'm like, wow, I don't know if she did it on purpose, if she like knowingly is doing it, or if it's just a natural thing. She is playing the long, long, long game with these. So her plots, without a doubt, are absolutely amazing. You may be reading it and you're like, why do I need to know all this information? Trust me, you need to know it. She will use every bit of plot that she can possibly get out of all of her books. I just think that that is such smart, intelligent storytelling because it ties it all together and it allows you to have so many different theories. And that's why there are so many theories. The next thing that she does really well is she creates characters that are very lovable and that people just connect to on a very deep level. There is a reason why there are so many fans of specific people and of specific characters within her stories, and that's because people get so connected to her characters. And I think it's because she knows how to write really good, strong personalities, and she sticks to that. Her characters, I mean, they overlap in personality some, but every single one of them has their own specific personality. And the fact that she is able to write banter between these different personalities and make each one of them their own, again, is an extremely difficult thing to do. I think a lot of times when we're reading books, there will be some things where characters will do something that just seems out of character for them. I mean, it's understandable for the plot and like why they would do that, but it just seems out of character. And so that's what I love about Sarah's characters, is they always stay true to themselves. And to me, I just think that that strengthens everything within that character and everything within the story. Also, she's really good at writing banter. She knows how to make really funny moments, really heartfelt moments, very serious moments, very sad moments. Like, she just knows how to create those moments within a whole story arc that, again, just makes us more endearing to those characters. And then really the last thing that I think she does really well is pacing. Pacing with relationships. It's not like people just automatically enter into friendships or relationships or being enemies. Like, it's always a gradual thing. I love that because there's a certain sense of realisticness to it, and it provides a certain complexity then to that relationship. None of her books are like insta love. None of them are insta anything. It is a long, slow thing that she really cultivates, and you can tell the care that she puts into these. And so that's, again, why we love those relationships so much, is because you can see all the care that is put into them. There is so much detail around a relationship, a friendship. So again, the pacing of those relationships. And then we've got when we find information. It's so nice how she does it. She leaves tidbits of information all over the place. And so instead of just this huge information dump, which I wouldn't say they're huge information dumps, she does do some information dumping. Instead of just these huge moments of information dumping where it's like, oh, this character really needs this. Next chapter, they figure out what that thing is. This book or these books, it takes a while for them to find out that information. So it's not an immediate resolution to things, but it also isn't something where it's like, we never find out, it never happens until the very end. It's like a slow trickle of information. And then really, I want to talk about, again, her big finales that she puts together. And her pacing when it comes to these big finales, she doesn't put it within just one chapter. She spreads it out over like 2, 3, 4, sometimes 10 chapters. And I think that's smart because she puts a lot in her grand finales. She puts a lot of time into it, and there's a lot of emotion in those. It's not just plot, even though a lot of plot happens, a lot of information happens, and a lot of feelings also happen in this. And so for her to do all of that and to do it well, she needs time to do it. It flies by. But I'm always so appreciative of all that extra information that we get of how they're feeling as things are going on, different hurdles that they get through. Like there's triumphs, and then there's downfalls, and then there's a triumph again, and then a downfall. Like, it's got its own arcs within the big finale. It's so fun, absolutely so fun to read. That type of feeling of like plot twists happening, and the way she is able to hide information from her readers that our main characters already know. Like our main characters that we are in their head and we are watching what they're doing are able to hide things from the reader that we then find out at the end. It's so much fun to read because you never know what is going to happen. And then when it does happen, it makes sense. Anyways, that was my reread. That is what I absolutely love about Sarah's writing. If any of that sounds fascinating to you or that you would be interested in reading, please go read it. Please go read this book. If you have read it, consider doing this reread with me to CC3 because I'm so excited to see what she does in her Crescent City world. I'm so excited to see what she does with the continuation of the ACOTAR world. And even though this series is officially done, it's the beginning of it all. And so I absolutely appreciate this series so much. And again, one of my favorite characters ever comes from this series. I'm hoping that this whole thing maybe will make you also interested in it. It's okay if you don't want to read it. That is totally fine. I'm thinking what I'm going to do in the coming months is I'm going to continue making videos kind of like this about the different books that I read. Maybe it'll just be an accumulation of the 2 books that I read, or if I'll do a video for each book. I'm not really sure yet, but I guarantee those ones will be full of spoilers because I won't be able to hold myself back. Give this book grace because, again, this is her debut novel. This isn't going to be like her newest books out there. You can tell that her writing style grows and she just gets better and better. This shouldn't be her magnum opus. This should be like a regular debut novel. But I promise you, the long game is the best game when it comes to Sarah. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Go check out my Instagram. That is where I have posted the schedule that I am planning on reading with the order that I'm planning on reading. So if you want to do it with me, let me know. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you to all my new subscribers. Like, I cannot believe that I broke 100 subscribers the other day. That just blew my mind. I can't believe 100 of you want to join and watch me and chat with me about books. That is just insane to me. So thank you again so much for that. Thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you all again soon. Bye!